Hello and welcome to the We Only Do One Take podcast. It is your one, your only, your favourite CEO. It's me, it's Kieran, all the way from the Rat, also known as Ballarat. And joining me, like he's opposite and in the studio, it's Turch. Hello,
How
Turch.
you doing, buddy? How are you?
I am fantastic.
It's good to be back for another week of the podcast, you know. And I'm so glad you did the intro as well, because I was spent all afternoon thinking of a joke and I could not think of one. And what I came up with was, with me is my co-host, my CEO, and the man that puts the letter D in the word fridge, Kieran. And I'm like, that's not funny. That's not funny.
That's quite terrible. And it's hilarious because I just heard that joke because I stuffed up the recording, but we won't tell anyone.
Don't tell people. We only do one take, but we recorded it. We didn't even record anything. That's the whole thing.
That's all right. Hey, in exciting news.
Exciting news.
I feel quite proud of myself.
Yeah.
Right. The other day, by the other day I mean yesterday, I sentenced someone to 76 weeks.
Jeez, when did you become a judge? You should have been on the same panel as for Cardinal Pell over there. He would have got away with. He wouldn't have got away with only 3.5 years or whatever the hell he's getting.
Well, we had a hearing. A very naughty man did some very naughty things on the basketball court.
Oh,
and me and two other panel members had to hear the case, and I was quite impressed because they wanted to give him a year, and I talked them up 26 more weeks. A 1.5 years ban from stadiums.
Can I ask, what do you have to do to get over a year's ban at social basketball? Because I've seen guys play soccer and I've seen girls play soccer where they're like pulling their hair out on the pitch, and one girl actually went and keyed another woman's car. At one stage, it was crazy, and she was back like the next week.
Wow.
Yeah, real bad. I would not recommend playing at that soccer place.
That sounds like fun. Well, basically, just don't have me and the two others that were in the tribunal, and you're pretty fine. Yeah, we're like the toughest in the district. Basically, if you get it, if it's us three, you're fucked.
Great.
Yeah, you know, someone else might have given like 5 weeks, and we've come in with 76. Very proud. Not the record though. 104 weeks is the record at the moment.
So 2 years worth of banning.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be there when the guy just gets the sentence of 102 weeks, and he's just like, I can just see him ranting and raving and doing a whole bunch of fun stuff going forward. But Kieran, speaking of rants, that's what this show is about. I mean, one of the things, we've had a couple of guests on recently, and some of them don't exactly know what we do and this and that, but I think we should really tell all the listeners for this episode what we actually do on this show. So, we usually start this episode with a bit of crap, and then we do, someone here does a rant.
That's correct, yes.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Now, Kieran, do you have a rant for us this time?
Do I have a rant? No.
You don't?
I don't have a rant. I don't have
Well, I do.
Excellent.
I do. Kieran, have you noticed we've been going to bars and pubs lately? I'm really enjoying ourselves because we're alcoholics.
We met at a bar.
We did meet at a bar, and we were alcoholics back then as well. But the big thing that I've noticed recently, and it's been big in the news not only here, but you know, in the UK and especially in the USA, is the banning of plastic straws.
Right.
And that's what my rant about is today, right? The banning of the plastic straw. Because the more you look into why they banned plastic straws, the more you realize none of it's credible.
Mm-hmm.
And it really annoys me. So I first noticed that plastic straws were banned. There was some stuff on the news saying that they were going to do a few little things. It's not. Again, it doesn't really affect us. Like, we only use our straws to sort of mix our rum and coke or whatever we're drinking, like Scotch and coke, whatever, whiskey and coke, whatever we're
Do
drinking.
you use a straw when you drink whiskey and coke?
Well, sometimes they used to give you straws back in the day.
Yeah, I take the straw out. I don't have
Yeah,
the straw.
I just do a quick mix. That way, it's sort of like some of the alcohol sits at the bottom, and I want it even throughout the glass.
Oh, that's actually... I can't believe I haven't thought of that.
Well, now you can't even do it because
Really?
they banned the straw.
Yeah, but it's probably for some environmental reasons, right?
And that's exactly right. So that's where I'm getting at this. So apparently, it's environmental reasons. And the stat is, in the USA, over 500 million plastic straws are used every day in the USA.
Sorry, say that fact again.
Apparently, 500 million straws are being used every single day in the USA.
So that means the US has a population of what, 300 million?
That means everyone's using 2 straws a day.
Hang
Now,
on.
you think,
People don't use 2 straws a day. There's some fucktards out there that are using 5 to 6 straws a day.
Well, it'd have to be something crazy like that. And that was I'm glad that you stated it there. 500,000 straws, 500 million straws a day sounds like a bloody lot. And that was the first thing that triggered me about this stat. And look, lots of people like the environment and have all that sort of stuff. And that's absolutely fine. You've got to take care of the environment the best you can. But still, limits. For me, though, the biggest thing was this 500 million figure. So a whole bunch of people have stated this figure. This celebrity named Nina Nelson has stated it. The mayor of New York City has stated it. Starbucks, Hyatt, and Hilton have all abandoned the plastic straw. And the mayor in New York and stuff like that have all banned the straw outright. And now you can only get paper straws. And we'll get to that later.
Okay.
But where did this half a billion straws a day number come from?
I'm guessing someone has made it up.
And you know what? You would be 100% correct. In like 2014 or something, or 2015, a 10-year-old kid for a school project called...
Hang on. Did you say a 10-year-old kid?
A 10-year-old boy for a school project telephoned some straw makers, some plastic straw makers.
Yes.
And asked how many straws they think America uses a day. And they just gave him this figure. This got picked up by...
So basically, some person's answered the phone and gone, oh, fuck, it's a 10-year-old. They've got a question for a school project. Fuck, I'll make up a number and give it to them.
Yeah.
And they can go off, and I don't have to actually find this out because it's just going to some school project.
No, that's right. So this kid, it became a little bit of a thing. It got picked up by the local news and then like the state news and finally went on national news. So they put him on TV and he has been stating this half a billion straws a day. And he's like, many of it may end up in the oceans without any fact checking.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious.
And the more you go into it, it's actually like the number is expected to be like less than half of that.
I just knowing, even if America, okay, in your workplace, Turch, how many people do you see drink out of a straw each day?
Use their straws. Not many. Like, look, I get the paper cups for the coffee. A lot of people using those, but they're papery now. They're recycle and stuff like that. I didn't even have a lid on mine because I just have the macchiato, which is nice and short. But yeah, like straws, I don't see very many people, if not maybe one or two.
And how many of those people you think use a straw in the morning or in the evening when you're not at work and you can't see them?
I can't imagine them using a straw at home.
Okay. So
and
basically,
I can't imagine like before work.
So basically, because let's say there's 500 million people in America.
Yeah.
Right. That's one straw per day. And the amount of people that I know don't use a straw every day.
No.
Which means to have those figures, you got to have people who use a shitload of straws a day.
I can only imagine that people go into McDonald's, right? And you buy 2 meals and you get like 2 drinks with 2 straws in it.
Well, see, if I'm ever at McDonald's and I got to get the straw and you got to push the thing because you're in the,
That's right. You serve your own straw now, so you don't even need.
I go
straws.
through the first 3 or 4 because I don't trust the people before me.
Oh, there you go. So there's your 3 straws a day. But that's 3 straws a week. That's all it is.
More like 3 straws a month.
Ugh. So 500 million is completely a fake number. But the issue that I had with this, other than this stupid environmental bullshit, was that they've replaced these plastic straws with paper straws. Have you ever used a paper straw?
Don't use paper and water. Don't mix.
No, exactly right. They break down in an instant. And they're like, oh, they're biodegradable. Yeah, they're biodegradable while you're drinking from them. There's nothing like a little bit of cardboard while you're trying to have a Coca-Cola. Like, nothing's better than that.
Bloody outrageous.
But
Outrageous.
But there's another effect that it's having on businesses in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's having a negative effect. By not having plastic straws, it's having a negative effect on the disabled community.
What?
Because some disabled people need to drink out of straws.
Yes.
And they can't, drink out of a glass. And the paper straw is not allowing them because it's degrading so quickly. It's not allowing them to get the drinks quick enough to them for them to be thirst quenched.
And so this all came about from a 10-year-old who was doing
Wait,
a science project.
There's more. So every drink now costs between 3 and 5 cents more to serve, costing the patrons more money. And because the cost of the straws are a bit more expensive because they're all this biodegradable stuff instead of cheap out of China, costing the business more money. And they have to upcharge stuff for people to have their paper straws. So it's this whole cycle of a fake thing leading to all these negatives.
Wow.
So after all of that, I was actually going to rant about this ages ago. And I thought, this is like the worst thing ever. Absolutely worst thing you could do, right? But I found out today, and this gets to my article, that, because in Florida, they're currently banned. The plastic straws. But Florida is about to put a bill that would ban the banning of plastic straws.
Ban the banning of...
Yeah.
Good on you, Florida.
Double negative. So they put a 5-year memorandum on local laws that ban ban plastic straws, while state officials actually study the issue until it's cleared by the Senate committee.
Oh, fuck, that's good.
So for 5 years, they can't do that. They've also banned in the same bill, prohibits local bans on selling sunscreens that harm coral reefs. I'm like, isn't that every sunscreen?
Oh, dear.
So Floridians are gonna drink out of plastic straws and burn to death.
Oh, well, at least it's in the government at some kind of committee level.
Well, look, you know what?
That's the best you could ever hope for, right?
What was that, sorry?
So that's the best you could ever hope for.
Look, you can... It's the little things in life that make things go around, I guess.
Right, that reminds me.
I don't know.
Sorry, yes?
Go.
Oh, I have a rant.
You do have a rant.
I do have a rant.
Is it as stupid as my one about... I'm going to find you the clip of the kid going, oh, it's 500... It's like a 10-year-old boy. Wish I could scan the government as well as this gentleman has. He's the next Al Gore.
What was it? Like the... It's almost... Well, not quite equivalent, but the people that did that science experiment with Ribena and found that they had like no vitamin C or any of the other things that Ribena was claiming. And the students actually just thought that their apparatuses were just shit. And the teacher was like, no, you should like send that to the government. And they sent it to the government. And then the government did testing like, yep, your analyses were pretty good. So Ribena had to they had this...
Change all their advertising and their bottles and stuff like that.
Yeah, bloody hilarious. Turch.
Yes.
I was meant to go on my first strike on Wednesday.
Oh,
I was very excited.
So you've been in the job a month. You've taken an annual leave day, and you're about to go on strike.
Yes.
I love you, mate. I love you.
What's wrong with taking an annual leave day in the first month?
Nothing. That's why I love you. I love you so much. It's hilarious.
So we had the long weekend.
You can only do that if you work for the government, like we do. In the private sector, it would be like, yeah, actually, here's the door. Government sector, take another day. Go on strike. Continue, but you're about to go on strike. But what happened?
So very, very excited. We had the Monday off. Long weekend.
Yeah, long
very
weekend.
Excited.
Labor Day.
I enjoyed it. That was great. Then I was like, then I've only got to turn up to work on Tuesday. Wednesday morning is like 2 hours. And then we're striking because I'm new to this organisation. But apparently the EBA negotiations have been going on for a year and a half, right?
Sounds about right.
Then now got to the point where they're like, we're going on strike. So I was like, I better join the union so I can go on strike, right?
Yeah.
You know, how great's this going to be? They called the strike off.
What? So you're disappointed because...
Oh, the EBA
happened.
Negotiations have actually made a lot more progress since they
Well, that's
threatened
good.
strike, which is great. But I was looking forward to my day off.
Did you just want to hold a sign and pick it?
No, I was just going to sort of go down and see what was going on and then go home.
I think my mum's been a teacher and she's been on like 2 or 3 strikes every time she goes on strike. And she goes, if you do go on strike, you don't get paid for the day. You can take the day, but you have to let them know in advance, and then, but you have to you can't just say, oh, I'm going to go on strike, not get paid for the day or whatever it is, and then just go home. You actually have to show evidence of some kind that you are actually there.
No, very easy. I just put field work in my diary.
Someone can Photoshop you in, like, with everyone else, like a little face in the background, and that's all you need. Something.
You know.
Oh, I'm very, very sad for you. I would have loved to hear some protest stories from you, like you knocking the cops down because they're like not giving you enough cash, and then you get pepper sprayed, put you in the back of a divvy van, take you home.
You would love that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because then I could ask my mates, some of my mates who are friends of mine, and I can ask them how you went. Maybe beep that bit out.
I'll get the...
You got a new story for us.
Talking of striking.
Yeah.
Victorian and Australian and international school students are going on strike tomorrow.
Right. What?
Do you know why?
Why?
Why are students going on strike?
Is it something about the environment or something stupid like that, or abortion or something stupid that children should not be involved in?
Barely out of nappies. Conservative academic takes aim at students' climate change strike. Now, I'm all for the man and the woman going on strike. I was going to go on strike on Wednesday. I'm all for it.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Right. Except for I don't think this is a strike. They're not striking against education, which is where they are.
No.
Like, they're not striking against... So it's more of a demonstration.
Well,
rather than a strike.
They're striking because the environment is not doing the best. Too many plastic straws. That's the fucking issue here.
Well, see, good on them for demonstrating, right? Good on them for demonstrating. But see, whereas in a workplace when you go on strike, at least it's like the announcement of a strike got the EBA, progression going a lot faster, right?
You're right. What is the purpose of them going on strike? What is it going to accomplish?
Nothing, because they've got to enter politics, or they've actually got to enter science and work on the actual problems.
So so you're telling me the kids have to enter science or politics to help the environment and do stuff like that?
Well, I'll say, okay, the cars we drive today, right, produce a lot less carbon dioxide,
right,
than they did 40 years ago.
Which is disappointing because they're not as fast.
Oh, well, become a scientist and make them faster, right? But that's industry and engineers and scientists have been working on that, right, to reduce the things. So they're doing their bit to reduce emissions, which is fantastic.
Of course.
Good on them, right?
I remember. Do you remember back in the day? And I'm sure you remember this. Was like Greenpeace was like, "Oh, we've got to like save the planet. We've got to do all this sort of stuff, save the planet, la la, and because we've got to cut down on how much paper because we're cutting down trees and this and that, and we're wasting billions and billions and billions of trees every year." La, la. And then the USB was invented, and
The
then
US what?
the
The
USB,
B?
yeah, like the USB, like a USB drive.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, look, we probably use like 10% of the paper that we used to use like 20 years ago. And they're still like, ooh, we've got to save the rainforest. Like, where do they draw the line? Like, okay, well, we've done the best we can. We've really limited how much paper we're using. Like, there's got to be a limit. But nonetheless,
I was going
like
to say, I bloody destroyed millions of trees during my PhD.
It's fun. It's fun just printing out. But you can't let printers smell your fear. If they smell your fear, they're never going to work.
But I think these students, right, I got on them for demonstrating, but none of them are working on the actual problem.
You know what? It's
And this is the thing,
maybe
right?
maybe they should like learn about things and really study hard at a place where there are teachers there and the curriculum is set where they have to learn a certain amount of stuff to go on to higher education. Maybe like they should stay in school instead of fucking go back to school instead of striking. Go learn about stuff instead of just standing there. It's just a waste of a day.
To be on the flip side, wouldn't you want to be the teacher going, yeah, go on this strike? I'm gonna
No, because the teacher, I guarantee the teachers would have to be there. And then you have
strike.
to... Yeah.
No, the teachers aren't going to the strike. The students are just wagging school for the day.
Is a wagging school... Nah, because I reckon a lot of these schools will be pushing it. They'll be like, yeah, we're going to go down to the strike and it's going to be, it's going to be part of the experience of the day and, that's what they're going to do.
So these teachers are doing it all wrong, right? What they should be doing, if you're a smart teacher, you'd be going, oh, maybe I can take my students to like the United Nations, to like the environment people, and then we can get an international trip and they can pay for me.
You know what the issue with that is? No public school's ever going to do that. It's all going to be private schools.
Oh, there you go.
You got to think of the money. There's no public education that's going to go, hey, take 50 kids to the United Nations to meet up with some random guy.
I'm just thinking, now that I work in academia full time, how I can take students on an international study tour.
You just got to set it up.
No, I've just got to try and figure out where I want to go.
Well, do what we did, because I went on an international study tour, and I went to like Singapore, I went to Switzerland, I went to France, did everything. I did the full world trip. Apart from the USA, I was there.
Oh, Turch, and you'd love this. A month into my new job,
yeah,
I've already got conference leave approved and paid for.
Oh, fantastic! That's fantastic.
I love working for the government.
It's the best. It's the best. Well, Kieran, I found some exciting, fun news that involves hipsters and academic studies and fantastic lawsuits all in one.
Oh, no fucking way. We bought in the same article.
You got the same article, did we? So I've got here. I hope it's the same one. Hipster whines at tech magazine for using his pic to imply hipsters look the same. Discovers pic was of an entirely different hipster. At the end of February, MIT Technology Review emitted the pithy rundown of a 34-page research paper from math modeling boffins at a certain university in the USA. And the paper essentially stated that the all-important counterculture statement hipsters can end up looking all alike. For groovy models of how random acts of hipsters undergo phase transition into a synchronized state, along with some knotty network equations. The accompanying article was then edited stock image of a generic millennial chap in a plaid shirt and a standard issue beanie or trendy winter attire. So after it went live, they got a furious email from a man saying that he was the guy in the photo that ran with the story, and he accused them of slander presumably by implying he was a hipster, and of using the pic without his permission, and he wasn't too complimentary about the story either. The crap, is generic millennial chap liable? The registered courts can't afford those hitting in the courts. But at the end, they found out that it wasn't even him.
No,
that's the greatest thing ever.
What did they say that was because slander means that you're damaging a person's reputation?
Yeah, I thought that too, and I'm like, how can it be damaging this person's reputation? Because as someone stated here, as far as I know, calling someone a hipster isn't slander, no matter how much they hate it. Still, they would never use a picture without a proper license, this and that. But the only reason that a word can be slanderous if it isn't true, or but in this case, if this person and is derogatory as well, so derogatory can help out with the slander sort of case, or is a negative sort of thing, like calling someone, something that they're not, and it's in a negative way, like what's her name, the Australian actress, like she got told that her age was a lot more than what it was, or something like that. Like that's slander. In this case, he's now, by saying that it's slander, he's saying that there's two things. One, that the word hipster is actually negative. And two, by calling someone a hipster, it's actually like almost like a racial slur of a group of people, which is completely wrong because it's just about a certain type of dress. It's a ridiculous case.
To me, I go, if you actually think that was you, when it clearly it wasn't, you're a hipster.
Well, no, that just proves exactly what the study stated, that they all look alike. The fact that this guy looked at a picture of someone else in a plaid shirt and a bit of a beanie and this and that, and then said, "Yep, that's definitely me. You're not allowed to use a picture of me in this study about all hipsters look alike. Obviously, we don't." And then gets it so wrong that he can't even recognize a picture of himself.
That's
fantastic.
My brother and I look alike, right? But I can tell the difference.
Yeah, well, we got mates that are twins, and we can tell the difference. You should be able to tell the difference between you and anybody else,
and a stranger,
and a stranger in a random picture and stuff like. Oh, it's fantastic. It just proves, and the guy just stated who wrote the study. It just proves that hipsters do actually all look alike. If this has proved nothing but,
you'd be pretty embarrassed. That's bloody hilarious.
I'm just waiting for hipster to be like a protected class, like on Twitter. Like you can't say Jewish words, or you can't say Islamic words or this and that. Suddenly hipster's going to be the next word on Twitter or Facebook that you can't say anything negative about because that's a protected class.
Apparently, I heard Facebook and Instagram and all that was down for like 12 hours.
You know what? It may have been. I didn't even notice. That just proves that we have real jobs.
I was just like, I didn't notice that. Did I tell you about the party I went to a few weeks ago with the social justice warriors?
No, please.
Oh.
I live for these stories. This is not the party that you got kicked out of.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Did I tell you that? I'll tell the listeners.
Yeah.
You know me. I don't hide away from stating my opinion on many things. And then when someone has had some alcohol, someone's opinions may become stronger.
Is that third beer? It's, you know what? That when you have 3 beers, you're feeling great, and that 4th beer turns you into Alex Jones, where you're just yelling out conspiracy theories, and you're like, you're yelling at people, you're telling them off, you're telling them that the Earth is definitely flat, NASA's a lie, the interdimensional space pedophiles are raping women and selling body parts of babies. That's where you get to after that 4th beer.
Yeah, so pretty much. I can't really remember the night. Other than, all I know is I had a great time, right? And I didn't turn up to this party till midnight, right?
Man, you're a real party animal.
Oh, I know. And I think I left there 3 or 4 in the morning. I was like, this is a house party. This is great, right? Anyway, there was still quite a number of people there. talking to people and, having some great conversations. Anyway, there was these two, and it wasn't until the next day when I woke up that I was like, they were social justice warriors, right? And I can't remember what they were talking about, but I told them that they were clearly wrong, and this is why they were wrong, right? And they're talking about it was very airy-fairy, like, we need to do this, but I'm like, why? Even if I agree with you, like, tell me why. Anyway, so I pushed them on a lot of their ideas. I remember that. Anyway, they left. They left wherever we were sort of sitting and went away somewhere else in the party. And it got to about 4 a.m. and there wasn't many of us left, right? And one of the girls comes back out and she sees me and she walks away, right? I didn't pay any attention to that, right? And then...
Too cool for school.
Right. And then later on, she sits down on the couches and all that. That's fine. Anyway, towards the end of the evening, I once again, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I order an Uber, right? And she goes, I go, oh, my Uber's here. I'll go. And she says something like, yeah, it's time for you to leave now. Like very, very, very assertively.
Forceful. Yeah. Right? Well done.
Yeah, very forceful. And the other guy who was a social justice warrior, he said something along those lines too, right? Anyway, one of my mates was there. And the next day he's talking to me about the party. And I'm like, I had a great time. Like, I fucking had a great time. He's like, you were hated at that party. They all hated you.
That's why you had a good time.
And I'm
you played the villain. It's the best,
the
best feeling.
And I'm trying to think, why did I think I had a good time? I'm like, oh, because they're all social justice warriors, and I was like challenging them and making my opinion known, and they had like no comebacks. And I was like, that's why I had a good time at this party.
What was their topic of the day? Because there's always like one topic that social justice warriors always have one topic that they're really keen on.
Yeah.
And it's always funny finding out which one it is and just really drilling them down on it.
Oh, look, the only thing I can sort of remember was that they're talking about like Collingwood and near Collingwood being like upper class and lower class.
Yeah.
And how, the government's got to do things and they've got to fix and change things. And I can't remember. I was sort of going, yeah, but you can't just give handouts. We've got to help people like work and,
I'll sum up what you said. We just can't be socialists. You do realize this. Socialism does not work.
Pretty much. And why should someone who's worked really hard and earned their money, like they should be able to buy that $1 million property or $2 million property.
Of course.
And the others, we can try and help them get jobs, but they've got to work.
Yeah.
They can't just get handouts. Anyway, they obviously didn't like that part of that.
It's amazing. The more you get to
I had
a
a great
stage
time,
when
Turch. You would have loved this party.
I would have had a great time with you. We would have both been kicked out. It would have been terrible. I just love it when you get, I talk to a couple of uni students here and there, and they talk about things like that, and they're like, oh yeah, if everyone, socialism works when it's like 50 people and they all have certain skills, they can all help out. So once you get to a stage where it's, it gets bigger, there's so many more people. We've got 200, 300, 1,000, million people in a certain area. Socialism doesn't work at all.
See, I guess where I'm for, in a sense, in the part of the socialism aspect, right? If you've got such poor cognitive abilities, right, and that's what we sort of consider someone who's like intellectually disabled.
Yeah.
Right. Even people with intellectual disabilities work. Right.
Yeah,
they can find some form of work, but there's going to be people with cognitive abilities. They just can't work.
Oh look, there's always going to be like 5 to 10% of the population that can't work. It's always going to be the case. And
we have to provide and support them, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be some other cases where people just can't work for whatever reason, right? And I'm also for sort of like the free uni education, and we do pay it back later.
I think Australia has one of the best systems, because at the end of the day, we there's interest and all that sort of stuff, and we slowly pay it back. I mean, it's a lot better than the American one. Having free tertiary education makes it worthless. Because that means if everyone can gain access to it, and it's a bit like that here, the more education that people have access to that's free, the less the quality is going to be. I mean, that's why when people talk about having, free healthcare, free healthcare doesn't work, because doctors need to earn money. And doctors are a finite skill, same as uni lecturers.
Well, it's not free because the taxpayer picks up the bill.
That's absolutely right, but that's the thing. Like, if I could change one thing about the political spectrum in any country, anytime a politician says free, they need to say taxpayer dollars or income generated through taxation. If they change that, everyone would understand exactly where that money is coming from, and everyone would have a far better opinion and a far more strongly worded opinion on where we spend those dollars. Because nothing will be free anymore. We will be using taxpayer dollars to fund other people's universities. And people will be like, well, hold on a fucking second. We're paying Kieran?
Hey, I've got to pay that money back. I'm getting taxed for it now.
I know, isn't that the worst thing you've ever seen in your life? And people wonder why I don't want to pay taxes. Or Kieran, speaking of the government doing the wrong thing.
The government doing the wrong thing.
I teased it, I think about a year ago I talked about this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do a bunch of stories about porn now, because it's one of our favourite topics.
It's been a few weeks since we've done a story about porn.
It's been a few. No, last week with Dan we talked about Spider-Man porn.
Oh, that was more art.
That was more art. I'll give you that. So, about a year ago, I think I talked about, at least 6 months ago, I talked about how in the UK they're going to be blocking porn. Do you remember that?
Yes.
April 1st, 2019. It's going to start.
If Brexit wasn't on right now, this would be the topic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, this is what's going to happen. This so-called porn ban, which is exactly what it is, will see all adult websites blocked by default, with users required to verify their age as 18 years old or older to unlock them.
Do you think people will do that?
Well,
people are going to. There's always workarounds. People will get VPNs.
Yeah, exactly right.
America.
Look, that's easy thing, because this is a boomer issue with a boomer problem. Right? Oh, just get your license out and just scan it in. It'll be fine. It's exactly what it is. Because they're asking people to get their license and do it. But not only that, you have to now buy the access to adult websites. Let me just find it here. It's amazing.
So you got to register, verify.
Yeah, you have to register.
Buy the access.
Register. Let me tell you. So, all the adult porn, all the adult sites, all the porn sites, they'll join a number of other sites using the Age ID system, which requires users to verify their age via an official form of ID, such as driver's license or passport. From April, when the new system is expected to launch, randy internet lurkers will be shown a non-pornographic landing page, according to the Age ID spokesman James Clark. When a user first visits a site protected by Age ID, a landing page will appear and prompt them to verify their age. Each website will be created with their own non-pornographic landing page for this purpose. When someone clicks on the site first, they'll be asked to register their ID, and they can use that through their mobile SMS, a credit card, passport, and all this sort of stuff. But not only that, they can also do that, access all the porn sites through a one-time verification that's protected with any sites that'll go through a simple pass-through or login without needing to verify via a voucher you can buy from high street shops. And this pass, this for a single device, will cost you £5, which is about $8 Australian, or £9, which is about 14 Australian dollars. Which means if you want to buy porn for every single site, or access to every single porn site, you will need to pay an additional not 15 Australian dollars and log in every time you want to watch porn. Now, not only is this like the most stupid thing you could ever do in your life, can you imagine this now? Like, we're young, we can work around this. We'll find a VPN. We'll just, like, millions of other porn sites are going to pop up. There's no way they're going to find every single porn site and put a login page at the front of it. Let's just do that. But think about this. Think about your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your dad's sitting there and he gives you a call. This is the phone call you receive. Mm-hmm. Son, where do I put this doohickey to access the porn? That's the phone call I'm one day expecting. Because there's no way in hell any boomer's going to go, I'm going to go down to the shop and for $5 I'm going to buy an access to a porn pass and then go to my computer and log in. There's just no way in hell any boomer, anyone over the age of 50, is going to do this. You know what? That's more of a dystopia than I could ever talk about. Like, LI1084 has nothing on Zoomers or whatever we are, Generation X, having to help our parents log into their own porn.
This is the thing,
they're
right?
paid for.
The young people of today should be working on climate change and solving that, right? Making sure we can live in a sustainable environment. Instead, all their efforts going to be working on how to get around the porn.
Well, porn has been the biggest driver for, like, most of technology when it comes to visual and audio.
Well, porn's just... I mean, think about it. Before... go back into the really olden day times, right?
Yeah.
It was just brothels. There was just a shit ton of brothels.
I've been to Pompeii. Where Pompeii is in Italy. Like, Mount Vesuvius went off and, like, everything got frozen in time, basically. From the volcanic ash. And look, you know what? It's one of those, like, marvels of history. And it's absolutely incredible. And not, like, a lot of bodies were sort of, like, I don't know what the word is, but, like, calcified. Like, they're just bodies that are covered in this volcanic ash and stuff like that. And they're just, you can see, like, the figures. You can see the people running. It's amazing. And some of the buildings were really kept in really good condition. Like, some mosaics were there, and it's amazing. You can go have a look. But the building that was kept in the most pristine condition out of all the buildings in there was the brothel. So as you're walking around with your tour guide, he's like, and this is the brothel. This is the most... And you walk in there, and it's got, like, the beds and then above each of the rooms, there's mosaics of what they do in that room. So you go, this is like the missionary. Mm. This is the doggy style room, and you can go. That porn is always going to be around. I think just in different forms. But I think the fact that it's very different from going into a brothel in the 2,000, 3,000 years ago compared to, again, buying a porn pass. You thought that buying condoms back in the day was hard to do. Imagine that you're like 18 and you want to buy your first porn pass.
Do you reckon
that's so much
the
more
sale of magazines is going to go up in the UK?
But then you would still have to show your license, wouldn't you? It'd still be the same issue.
Look,
it's good. You know what?
People who aren't technologically literate, right? Yeah, even people who are not technologically literate, they will figure out a way to access the porn.
I hope so. I hope that the world really unites on this. I think if anything can really help people more, like, people are always going to, like, help people connect, and I think pornography is like the biggest commodity on the internet. It's the cheapest and biggest commodity, and if people need porn, people will get porn. Is LimeWire finally going to make its return? That's what I'm really hoping for. LimeWire or Napster or something like that, and it's like all these random names of porn in, like, really low definition. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, bloody oath.
But yeah.
Sorry, listeners,
Yeah.
Is there a delay in our Skype?
Oh, there's always been a delay. You'll figure that out when you're editing it.
Just feel like there was a bit more.
Yeah, there's just a little bit there. That's okay. We'll just edit it out. It'll be fine.
Oh, good. Okay.
But go for it, Kieran. What do you got for me? Because after this, I got another porn one, which goes on from this one.
Well, in a certain town, there has been a jewel thief. And
we look up very different articles. Continue.
That's why this show's great.
Yeah.
And they have been trying to find this jewel thief for quite a while. And the shop they've looked basically all over the shop, in the false ceiling, in the AC ducts, and they can't find their jewellery. Turns out, rats. Rats are the thieves.
Oh. So how much jewelry have these rats stolen?
A fair amount.
Yeah.
A fair amount. Doesn't specifically say. About $23,000 worth. But
so I never know what the value of jewelry is. Like, I look at things and go, oh, it's like, it looks like a lot, but it's like, $50. I don't understand how they're priced jewelry. Like, gold's easy because it's like a commodity, but diamonds I don't understand.
I wouldn't have a clue about how it's priced. I feel like jewelry and all that's just massively overpriced anyway.
Yeah, well, like gold and silver, like that's a commodity, easy to price. But diamonds, like it's De Beers, I think has almost a monopoly over all of diamonds. It's like this one company, and they sell on diamond stuff like that. And in the 1920s, like diamond sales were like almost nothing, and they invented like diamonds are a girl's best friend and started to push things. Giving a diamond as an engagement ring was something that they pushed in like the 1910s, 1920s as a marketing campaign. And apparently they would used to go down to schools, like, teenagers and stuff like that, and primary schools, and sell this to them as a marketing campaign and telling people. And like the whole thing of like, oh, it's like 2 months of a male's salary. That's how much the ring should cost, la la la. Like, that was all a marketing campaign, and it just took off because they got it into, like, films, they got it into, like, back photographs and stuff like that in the fashion world. And that's where, in, like, the 1910s, 1920s, diamonds were almost worthless. Because even back in like, the Roman times, it wasn't diamonds, it was rubies and emeralds and stuff, which are actually a commodity. It's really interesting.
Well, you got to admit, it's a pretty clever campaign. De
Beers was actually the name of the. I think it was not the diamond company. It was the marketing firm that worked for them.
Right.
Really interesting history about diamonds. We should go into it one day with someone that actually really cares about diamonds, and just be like, "Oh, your whole life is a lie." I think that would be really fun.
Oh God! After having been at that party with those social justice warriors, I really want one on the show.
We should get one. I've always said that. I always wanted to get like the most crazy right wing person I can find, to get the most crazy left wing person that we can find, and just moderate the shit out of it. I want that clash of craziness going on. Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome.
What article do you have for us, Turch?
Well, continuing on. So, remember I was talking about this dystopia of, pornography, and I have to help my parents out, or some old people out find out their wanking habits and stuff like that? I think these women in America have cut out the middleman.
Really? Oh, dear.
Mothers disgusted with hardcore online porn make their own X-rated film they'd be happy for their children to watch.
Is it them cooking?
No. So 5 women are taking... That was very funny. I just way past it because I wanted to get to the story. That was fantastic. So 5 women are taking part of a new Channel 4 show called Mums Make Porn. The mothers had to make a porn as part of their research and were disgusted. 2 of the women threw up when she was on set, and another was disgusted by the rape-based content, and she quit the show. So a group of 5 mothers were so disgusted with the porn they found online, they decided to make their own. They didn't star in the films themselves, but they helped direct and produce it in a bid to create porn that is realistic and promotes positive attitudes towards sex. The 3-part series follows the journey of the adults into the adult entertainment industry, which sees one of the mothers so distressed by internet porn, she quits the project altogether. One mother is reduced to tears by the violent rape-based content and she throws up. And at the end of the program, the women will show the video of the pornography that they film to one of their children.
Wow.
Okay. Like, Michael Jackson's been in the news recently about showing, like, obviously molesting little boys. But back in the 1993 case, and I think the 2004 case as well, people, like, it was alleged that he was showing pornographic images to underage children, like providing them with pornography, both in a video form and in a like a magazine form. Both of those allegations were shut down by the judge both times, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he was I don't believe he's guilty. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to go into that. But if he was going to be like, how is it legal for this mother to provide pornography even to her own child who's obviously underage? How is it even, 1, remotely legal, and 2, allowed to be televised? And 3, can you imagine? I can't imagine nothing worse than getting my mum and a couple of her friends together to make a porn. Can you, like, how, like, because that just means that they're only going to go off their own experiences, right? And so that's all they're going to put in their film. So can you imagine this big circle, overarching circle? The mums are making porn of only what they know, and the dads are going to call you up to help them log into the porn that the mothers have made, of the porn that they know. It's just a big circle of the worst porn circle you've ever heard of in your life. I can imagine that's a dystopian future that I will not be a part of, and I'm going to start my own country anywhere else where everyone that of legal age can access porn comfortably from their own home, have a wank, get it done, and move on with their day.
Turch,
I kind of do want to watch this show though.
I do want to watch this show, and if there's anything that I've learnt, and anything from psychoanalysis, is that you want your mum to make some porn and you want to watch it with her.
Look, how much Freud have we got time for today? Wasn't Freud like mostly discredited though? Is that?
Oh, he's very discredited.
Yeah, good. Yeah. That's good.
I shocked my first year psych students because they're learning about Freud, and one of them asked me a question, and I was like, to be honest, I don't really care because like we've moved so far beyond him.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys need to apparently know him for your exam, but after first year, don't need to know about him.
Nah. Yeah, I remember learning that he's just sort of completely discredited. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's funny. It's fair, good jokes.
Fair, he was one of, there was a few, but one of them, I guess, who started the psychology movement.
Yeah.
And for his time, really good.
Yeah.
But we're so far beyond it.
Well, like I said, if everything... It's good to know the things that were discredited so you don't re-look at it or understand why that they're discredited with new things. It's really important that you learn from the past and you move forward.
But for what he had at the time, it makes sense. It's a bit like the Bible, right?
Yeah.
It made sense at the time. It was our first attempt, so it was our worst attempt.
I don't think it was our first attempt. I think it was the first it was a different attempt. It wasn't the first. It was definitely. I think we have
one of the first attempts in the context, and people for some reason just can't get rid of stories from 2,000 years ago.
Okay, this is where we're going to have a difference of opinion on the Bible. Not that I believe in the Bible and this and that. I think that the Bible does... Okay, you're mostly talking about evolution and and how the world began and all that sort of stuff. That was...
Yeah, and yeah. So I'm not... basically, when people try and use the Bible to describe how the universe was created.
Oh, yeah. As a
piece
of
that,
art...
Right? That is like, we're so far beyond that. If you're using that as your reference point, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I think you've got to... I used to think that too. And again, I'm not really, a Catholic. I've grown up Roman Catholic, all that sort of stuff. I'm not really atheistic anymore. I'm more agnostic now. But I think you've got to look at the Bible as a learning tool for morality and how we developed our morality code as a secular society.
Yeah,
and as a piece of art. Because a lot of the laws that we've put in place today are based on Judeo-Catholic, Judeo-Christian learnings.
There's so many morals in there, which are it's like abortion. Like the fact that
abortion's never mentioned in the Bible.
Like, no, but people, people
they
use
the Bible as a
thing
because that's something that's something the Pope has said. And that was a Christian stance, but it's not in the Bible. I mean, eating shellfish is in the Bible.
The Bible is used as that.
It's used as a crutch. I absolutely agree. They shouldn't use it as a crutch for their own morality. But in the same sense, a lot of the teachings, be good to one another, even the 10 Commandments, a lot of those are really basic things like don't kill. It's a very simple sort of thing. I mean, we have lots of laws for that now, but it's a simplistic idea that can be used as a metaphor, as a learning tool.
For the time.
Yeah.
One of the first commandments is something to do with, obey God or obey something. And to me, I'm like, that's a very totalitarian.
But no, see that, and I think you're looking at it wrongly.
Viewpoint.
I think you're looking at it as it's God or nothing. But I think it's like, understand that there potentially could be a higher power that, whether that's a God for you or something else, that you're in that plays a part in the whole scheme of things. It's more of a metaphor than you think, and I'm not just. It's a different way of looking at it.
It's got some stories in there, depending on.
Look, the stories are great. Look, the prodigal son's a fantastic one. Like, a lot of the teachings of Jesus is really interesting going forward. The building of a community out of nothing, like the metaphors of the. Everything from Joseph back in the day when even his Technicolor raincoat and the Jews fleeing from Egypt and stuff like that. It's about the struggle and the struggle getting towards something that is greater. That's, it might take 40 years, 400 years, but that's, the journey on the way there is worth the goal. And that's really important.
Yeah, but you can still have that story. I mean, like... I don't actually I have never read the Bible, and I don't have much tolerance for religions.
Because it's a really interesting... There's some bits that are just garbage. I'll give you that. Some Psalms are boring as shit.
But you're talking about that, whatever that story is about, you got to sort of work hard. Well, that's my philosophy when I was having the debate with those social justice warriors. I was like, you've got to work.
Yeah.
And you've got to... If you're in a crap position, you work at it. And you try and get some support for it, and you work harder, and you reap the rewards for work. That's not based from any biblical stories. For me, I think this is my thing.
It's only because you don't know about it.
Science. I hope morals come from science rather than
morality. Morality can't come from science.
Written 2,000 years ago. I'm always under. I see. For me, I'm always under. Let's find the closer approximations to the truth. And
but morality isn't truth. And that's the I think that's the distinction that you might be missing. The Bible isn't about truth. It's about trying to understand morality.
But morality doesn't have to come from the Bible because there's many different
I didn't say it did, but I can't understand how morality can come from a science.
Because we look at... So I guess one of the things... This is one of the things where psych would look at it, right? Did you hear that story today about the refugee who joined ISIS when she was 19?
Yeah.
And now wants to come back to Australia.
Yeah.
Right. So...
How can science choose... How can science in that case then... morally choose the right decision?
No. But what it does is basically would go, there are people who are under the impression she chose that decision.
Yes.
Right. And so she should stay there. And the morality is we're keeping Australia safe. That can be conceptualized and put in a bucket, right? Then you've got other people who form other moral opinions, which are like, we have an obligation because she's an Australian citizen. So they fall under one bucket. Then we have others that are saying, well, we should really be looking after the children, and bringing her out here, and that's another moral position. So there's, for that one situation, there's many different moral compasses, and it's I guess science is understanding all those different moral compasses and the different values that people put on it, and why people have, I guess, lean towards that moral opinion or moral compass or moral value, whereas someone else has a different moral compass and a moral opinion. And I think when you've got a greater understanding of that, you can have, I guess, a greater discussion of how we help people in society.
I don't think that science is the way of going about this, because at the end of the day, this is a science. Science is doing, on a very, very broad and basic sort of thing. Science is doing the same, is being able to provenly test something and receive a result, the same result every single time. Whereas morality, you can't do that.
But I think
because every situation will be different. I mean, look, the same sort of issue, like this woman, coming back from ISIS to Australia. There's one that's just happened in the UK. She's also had children there who are now becoming ISIS fighters. But she's also come back and said, oh yeah, I want to kill people when I come back to London. So, it's... And I don't know too much about the Australian one. But, if she's gone, you know what, I want to get rid of my old ISIS identity. I've made a really bad decision and I want to reintegrate into Australian society, then that might be the case. And then the morality on that is two different sides of the same coin, where one doesn't want to integrate and one does, and then you've got that moral dilemma.
I'll flip it.
There were those two different things of almost the same sort of starting point. Two women leave ISIS camps to come back to a home country.
I'll give you a flip. I'll give you another example, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've done studies where they've got a person who looks homeless on the street crying out for help, right? In a packed street. People walk past him, don't help. Now, before you do that, you could ask a lot of people, and it's basically get down to their morals. Like, I want to help people in need, right? And then they walk past this person who is clearly crying for help, and no one stops. It's very rare that someone stops, right? And then you make them sort of look like a uni student, and a few people stop, but not as many. But then you put them in a suit. You put the person in a suit. They're crying out for help on the street. More people will stop for that person, even though these people have identified, I guess, their morals that they want to help people in need. These same people are more likely to help the person in a suit who looks professional than they are the person who looks like a homeless person.
But what you're doing there is, if you were to talk to these people, most of them would say it's the risk-reward sort of thing. If people help see someone that is, I guess, looking like a homeless person, for them, they're going to think, okay, fight or flight. More people are going to go, yeah, I might get injured in this situation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But
that's not a morality thing. That's a self-preservation thing. That's completely different. And now what you're doing is with science, you're only monitoring the outcome of a certain position. You're not understanding the reasons why they've come to their moral decision.
No,
And
but
I
the
think
moral.
that's
I guess
where
the
you're getting
moral
lost in the
decisions-
weeds.
But people can have these moral decisions, but it changes based on different circumstances, and I guess the behaviour that they're going to choose in certain situations. So it's an interesting. Anyway, my short story is.
I think we're looking at this. I think we're talking about the same thing, but in different ways. Just like my mum and I always fight about stuff. But I think what we're
fantastic.
I think that
I just personally think if you get your morals from the Bible, there's better places.
look.
And
There
that you're
are other
probably
places,
better off
but we
thinking
can't.
about it and why you have those morals.
I just
rather
don't
than
think that
them
you
being
could.
prescribed to you.
But okay, even if you stated that you take your morals from current government law, that's still being prescribed to you.
No, but mine is you should be thinking. It doesn't matter, even if it's the Bible or government law.
Yeah.
It's better to think about why you have those morals than just taking them for granted, like just taking them as they are.
Oh, that yeah,
And
but I think I think you're giving a blanket statement saying the Bible, just because, certain parts of it are very shady. Overall, it's terrible. I mean, I don't like any of the taxation laws in Australia, but that doesn't mean I go around killing people.
I'm not going around killing people because they believe in the Bible.
But you don't believe evolution, but in the Bible it says don't kill. But should you go kill people? But the moral law of the Bible saying don't kill someone is something that you still follow.
Christopher Hitchens put that one out really nicely, which he said when they're walking to Mount Sinai, or wherever it was, right?
Sinai.
And they get up there and the mother's about to kill his son or whatever it is. And then God intervenes and says, don't kill your son, murder's wrong. It basically says society wouldn't have lasted murdering one another. Like it's an inbuilt like genetic moral that we have. We don't, unless you're a psychopath or an sociopath, we don't go around killing people.
Oh, and that he said the story completely wrong and has completely missed the point of the story. It wasn't.
He says it better than I summarize it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think I'm gonna go watch the video. Not that I'm gonna refute it or anything like that. Again, not that I know exactly every part of the Bible and stuff like that, but I think that story you haven't given it the justice it probably deserves.
No, I haven't. But I'm just impressed that our listeners, right, have either switched off,
Probably.
or either very, very intrigued with this, or outraged. Which I hope we get some rants next week.
I hope so too, because it's. I do like both. Look, I'm not,
and I've probably infuriated more people, which I'm really happy about.
Look, religion has never really been a big part of my life. I've grown up with the Catholic Church around my family because obviously Roman Catholic and stuff like that. But as a morality center and as a this and that, it's never been a big part of my life. But I understand why people would be drawn to it. And I understand that, most people don't believe it all. Most people don't even know what's in there. And it's only told via dictation by the senior people of the church or senior people of this, that, or their own parish or whatever they want it, wherever they get their information from. But most people use it as a starting point. They don't use it as an ending point. That I know of anyway. And the people that you do use it as an ending point, they usually end up being the outcasts anyway, like the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the free. Those are the outsiders within the Christian community, and they're not widely accepted. My nonna doesn't believe that, God actually created Earth in 7 days. She doesn't believe. She thinks that the figure of Jesus wasn't a real man. She
cherry picks. I understand.
But you know what? We cherry pick with a whole bunch of things, and that's I choose to follow some laws and not some others. I'll jaywalk every day of the week, but god damn it, I won't kill anybody.
I guess my rules of engagement. If it's in your own home, fantastic, great. Do what you need to do.
Kill everybody you want.
Put it in the public arena. I'm going to protest. be a person of, I guess, power or influence, yeah, I'm going to, not hold... My opinion's not going to be held back.
No.
But if you're in your own home and you invite me over, I'll be very respectful. And in fact, I've got a friend who's Muslim, and I love going over to her house at the end of Ramadan, right? Because it's a big feast, and it's lovely, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's all good. Look, just enjoy. Religion is great. The artwork's the best part of it. I'll tell you that right now.
Also, the religious holidays.
Oh, well, I'm never going to get rid of those. Never going to get rid of those. And on that end note, Kieran, I think we should wrap it up. I think our listeners have had enough of our crap.
Probably.
From porn to religious ideologue debate from a morality standpoint. Jesus, we cover it all. And but if you would like some more, and if you're a wanker out there, you should follow us on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And if you'd like to send us some hate mail, a death threat, or a rant, especially after this contentious episode, please record it on your phone and email us at weonlydoontakepodcast@gmail.com. Kieran, thank you so much for another fantastic episode. I don't know how we do it.
We're just geniuses.
That's it. And all you lovely wankers out there, we will see you next Thursday.